Hey guys, this is Frozen Dig Stews here, and welcome back to another video. And today, I'm going to be doing something that I haven't really done in a while yet, I think, and that is a top 10 list. And yeah, after seeing the Little Mermaid remake for the first time, and you probably saw my rank on it, I think I am a lot more motivated to do this now. If you guys have been on my channel since 2022, you probably remember me doing my top 10 movies I like that everyone else hates video. And that's probably one of my favorite videos I did on my channel. Yeah, sure, I wish I would redo that video and add more movies there because there's a lot more underrated movies that I think deserve to be mentioned. But, I think it's fine for what it is. But yeah, I'm here today to do the opposite now. Yep, my top 10 movies I dislike that everyone else likes. Oh boy, it's time to get controversial once again. It's time for people to just disagree with me and pretty much get triggered by some of these picks. But yeah, this is just my opinion. This is the whole point of this video to for me to share my hot takes, my movie takes that people will disagree with me on. Without further ado, if you want to know my top 10 movies I dislike that everyone else likes list, then just keep watching. Oh, yeah, and there are no honorable mentions, so let's proceed with the list. At number 10, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Oh, okay, now this is already a very controversial one because I feel like the first person to actually dislike this movie. This is one of the most praised movies of 2022, and honestly, to me, it's probably the most overrated and overhyped movies of 2022. And that's also probably one of the most disappointing movies I've seen last year. I gotta be honest, I actually wanted to love this movie. I wanted to love Marcel. I love the idea of an A24 animated movie, and that's a mockumentary, like on the same vein as Surf's Up, which I really enjoyed Surf's Up. I don't think Surf's Up is a masterpiece or anything, but I still really enjoyed it. Now that one is underrated right there. And I was very intrigued to see A24 make an animated movie. I mean, 2022 can be a really big hit or miss for A24, as you know, they made films like Everything Ever All at Once and The Whale, but then you got pieces of garbage like Men. But to me personally, Marcel is one of the weaker A24 movies of the last year. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad film at all. I think this movie is well made, and I mean Marcel's adorable. And I really love the creative style to this movie. It is a very well made film overall. But and I understand that this is meant to be an art house film, but yeah, but I could not get into this movie. I didn't really care about this movie. I thought this movie was just extremely boring, and it is just extremely boring, and I just couldn't care less on what was going on. Yeah, I mean this movie. I feel like nothing is happening. Like most of the movie here is just Marcel just staring. Um, it's just this is a bore fest. Like most of it is just Marcel just staring at things and like like I just don't get it. It feels like nothing is happening in this movie. I don't know what is even happening, and I already forgot about this movie. Honestly, I actually forgot about most things. Nothing in this movie stands out. Nothing in this movie stands out. Like just yeah. The only thing that stands out is I guess Marcel herself. She's just for being there and oh, she's cute, but that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And yeah, I get that this is. I feel like this is just another movie that's just desperately made for the Oscars. And yeah, it's probably the best movie on this list. It's one that I think it's very well made, and I want to see more A24 animated movies, but this is just not my cup of tea. I'm sorry. At number 9, Looper. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna piss people off from this pick because I love Last Jedi, but I don't like Looper that much. Yeah. Yes. I am a huge fan of Ryan Johnson. I am a huge fan of Ryan Johnson. I mean, he's such a brilliant director. He's such a brilliant director. Like I think The Last Jedi is one of the most brilliant Star Wars movies. I will always defend Last Jedi to my dying breath. And of course you got the Nice duology. I've only seen Glass Onion once. I really need to revisit Glass Onion someday. But yeah. Also, I enjoyed Ryan Johnson's latest work, which is his TV show Poker Face. Really, I highly recommend that movie if you haven't seen it yet. But um, his um um his movie debut Looper is probably his weakest film. Oh, and actually, I should add as well that Ryan Johnson directed the best episode of Breaking Bad. So yeah. So yeah, of course. Well, Looper is a movie that I was excited for. I didn't really know it was directed by Ryan Johnson. I mean, I kind of knew it, but I didn't really want to see this movie just because he's in it. I don't even remember when I saw this movie, but I just remember not liking this movie. And honestly, maybe a rewatch could help this movie grow on me. But honestly, I don't even have the motivation to revisit this movie because from what I remember, this movie has such a brilliant concept. Like this movie, looks like it has such a clever concept that is very complex and very Nolan-like. It's like Christopher Nolan, and I really was curious to see this movie just be able to live up to the potential. But no, what I got was a boring, messy, and unfocused movie and that just felt repetitive. And this is the most confusing movie I've ever seen. It makes Inception and Tenet look simple in comparison. But I mean, as much as I love complex storytelling, this is not a compliment. As I just don't care for Looper. I think it is just so boring. It is so boring, and I just couldn't really connect with the characters. Yeah, I feel like the characters are probably what just puts me off from this movie. I mean, I love the cast here. I mean Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Bruce Willis, Emily Blunt, and Paul Dano all give great performances. But I mean, but they're playing two-dimensional characters, and God, like throughout the movie, I was just waiting for the movie to end because of how much of a snooze fest it is. I really expected more from this. Yeah, I was really disappointed with this movie. I mean, yeah, sure, it's a well-made film. I get what Ryan Johnson was going for, but what I just saw is just a very messy movie, and it's just not for me. Not for me. Sorry. At number eight, Love Actually. Oh my God, this movie, Jeebus, like, where do I even start with this? Yeah, I remember the last time I saw this movie once in December 2021, and I was recommended this, and this was recommended to me by an old friend, and I've heard some people say that this is actually their favorite Christmas movie. So, their favorite Christmas movie, and so I was kind of curious to see this one. And yeah, I was very curious. But when I saw the movie, honestly, I again was not a fan. I did not get the hype for this movie. Yeah, calling this the best Christmas movie, I mean, I accept your opinion if you think that, but really, best Christmas movie? I mean, have you seen really yeah, best Christmas movie? Yeah, there's far better Christmas movies. I can name far superior Christmas movies than this. Die Hard, Violent Night, Rise of the Guardians. If you count it as one, The Guardians, Home Alone, Home Alone 2, Elf. There's so many better Christmas movies. Oh, and even Little Women 2019, Klaus too. Like, there's so much, and you think this is the best one. I think this is one of the weaker. This is one of the weaker Christmas movies. Yeah, this movie is really, really, really boring, and I didn't care about a single character in this one. They're I mean, actually no, you know what, scratch it. Yeah, the characters are okay. I guess they're okay at best. Okay, they're just okay. I guess I like Alan Rickman, Bill Nye, Colin Firth, Emma Thompson, Hugh Grant, Laura Linney, Liam Neeson. Like Liam Neeson being my personal favorite character in the movie. I mean, there's just so much. There's just like, so much potential here. Even Rowan Atkinson. Listen. But the problem is that this movie is just really cliched. It's like, it's only just set in Christmas, but I feel like it just doesn't really have the Christmas feel. But on the core, at the core of this Christmas movie, it's basically just another generic rom com movie. I know it's unfair for me to call this movie generic because it came before a lot of these generic rom coms, but this movie is just so boring. It's just boring. Oh yeah, also I like that and the Deck cameo. And the Deck, the host of Britain's Got Talent. And also that Titanic reference, that infamous Titanic reference. Can't forget that. But yeah, it's boring, long. The heartfelt moments are like I felt nothing from it, and God, it was too long. Like it was just way too long, like 2 hours and 2.5 hours. Like I can't even sit through this chore of a movie. Yeah, might as well just rename this to Bore. Actually, yeah, yeah. There are far better Christmas movies than this. Oh boy, now we're getting into the movies that I really do not like. Like I legitimately dislike. At number seven, the one and only Ivan. Oh my goodness, yeah. It sucks for me to put a Disney movie on this list. And by the way, I actually enjoyed this movie in first watch. On first watch, I actually used to like this movie. I thought it was heartwarming and just, it was just beautiful, and I just enjoyed it. However, on like I never really thought about this movie since, and my thoughts, and the more I think about it, my thoughts in the film would just keep declining and declining and declining and declining. But again, just like the other movies under this is boring. Like boring, boring. I could not care about a single thing. And my second viewing, I literally didn't even just pay attention at all because it was just boring. This movie is very emotionally manipulative. I know this criticism is thrown around a lot, specifically with some movies that I personally don't agree with. That is don't agree with it being quote unquote emotionally manipulative. But this one is just the definition of just being manipulative to just make the audience quote unquote cry when I just feel absolutely nothing but emptiness after watching this movie. Yeah, this is in my top five most overrated Disney movies. In fact, it's actually probably my second most overrated Disney movie. My number one was it's about to be mentioned. And I think you probably know what the other one is if you know me so well. Um, yeah, I will say that though it is a very well made film. I acknowledge that, and it's like 30% well written, I guess, and also it deserved a best visual effects nominee. Like it's like how did Mulan 2020 get nominated for best visual effects and this one did, but yeah, I couldn't care less about the characters. They're all forgettable. Bryan Cranston. Like the movie can't decide if he's a villain or not. If he's an antagonist or not. Also, the decide this like Iron Man is such a is such a bore of a character. I couldn't even get into his character. Yeah, the side characters are really annoying, and yeah, this is I already forgot this movie. Yeah, this movie's a waste of time. And I actually had the plans to see this one in theaters. Thank God that this movie didn't get theatrical release. So yeah. At number six, oh boy, let's get super controversial with me talking about quote unquote instant classic, The Fly. I saw this movie back in Halloween 2021 for Halloween. This was actually a movie that I was forced into seeing, and I don't know. This is a movie that people just rave about so much. Like people would put this as put people would just put this as one of that one of the best horror movies of all time. Like they would say it's one of the scariest horror. They would say it's one of the scariest horror movies of all time. Oh boy. Oh boy. And yes, gave this movie I gave this movie the benefit of a doubt and just watched this, and honestly, no, I did not like this movie. No, I think yeah. Sorry, I was really disappointed with this movie. I didn't get, I don't get the hype for this movie. Like, the fact that people would call this an instant classic and one of the best horror movies, I don't get it. Like, I actually forgot this movie existed until like I checked my old overrated movies list in Letterboxd and apparently found this one. And but this one this one. It's actually sad that I dislike this movie because this movie has such a brilliant concept of Jeff Goldblum turning into a fly. It is a well made film. I like the it's well directed. No, not really. It has such great visuals, especially for its time. Great score and a pretty decent performance from Jeff Goldblum. And I will say that third act was awesome. Like I dug that third act. But the build up to the third act of the film, the first two acts absolutely sucks. The movie itself, don't get me wrong, the movie itself doesn't suck, but when it comes to all the issues I have with this film, they really suck, man. Oh my god, this movie yeah, this movie was so boring. It was just so slow. Like this movie is barely even this movie. It's hard for me to believe that this is even a horror movie because what this movie is just a build up to build up to Jeff Goldblum being a fly by doing by just doing science experiments, and it just gets so repetitive. And I get that the movie wants to have a slow build up, but it's just trying way too hard to be this gigantic classic film, but it just feels unfocused. Like literally right just before the third act, it doesn't even tell the viewers what's coming. It's just talking and talking with absolutely nothing to offer, nothing suspenseful, and oh my god, Seth is an awful, unlikable character. Also, Seth is Jeff Goldblum's character, by the way. It's bad when his fly self in the third act, his creature self in the third act is more likable than his normal human self. Yeah, that's how much I hate Seth. He is just horrible. And even as much as I do like the suspense of the third act of the movie, uh third act of the movie, it's not even scary. Like this, like people just say this movie's super scary, but how? I don't see it. I don't see it. It's basically an anti-hero film. It's basically Venom meets Frankenstein. Although even though Venom came after this, so yeah, it's and yeah, if you want to see a better horror alien movie of 1986, just go watch Aliens. Like that movie's a masterpiece. At number five, Crazy Rich Asians. Oh my god. Yeah, this movie. Oh my god. The hype for this movie is insane. People were like, oh my god, it's Crazy Rich Asians. It's based on one of my favorite books of all time. I'm gonna go see it. And then they instantly walk out, oh my god, the movie's a masterpiece. Like, I feel like this movie is extremely overhyped. Like I am aware that the book is popular because back in like the times like years before this movie came out, like every time I go to a bookstore, I would always see the Crazy Rich Asians book everywhere. Like they're literally everywhere. Everywhere, and so it made me, yeah, and then like when I went to go see Hotel Transylvania 3 theaters, I like there was a super long line for a movie, and you know what they saw? Yep, Crazy Rich Asians. I haven't really seen the movie until 2021, like right before John M. Chu, right before In the Heights, another film that is directed by John M. Chu. And yes, by the way, In the Heights, that movie is a true masterpiece from John M. Chu. Like, you want to talk about John M. Chu making a masterpiece? Yeah, In the Heights is you name it. It's on par with West Side Story as my favorite musical movie. Like in general, my favorite non Disney live action musical. But I mean, Crazy Rich Asians. I can't say the same. Like, Crazy Rich Asians is certainly no In the Heights, and I don't know. Actually a bit concerned about John M. Chu's future because I feel like he's gonna be a hit or miss director. I'm excited for Wicked because I'm a huge fan of the musical. It's my favorite Broadway musical show. But then he's making that Lilo and Stitch remake. Oh god. Oh god. But yeah. But I mean, it's really sad that I don't like this movie because I am an Asian. So and this movie represents Asian culture. Yes, I will get that. This movie is able to yeah this movie is able to y- um how do I say this? I mean, this movie does have some pretty good Asian representation. I would say that the one major positive I can give this movie is the acting. Constance Wu, Henry Golding, Michelle Yeoh, Gemma Chan being my favorite my personal favorite character in the movie. And even if I can't stand Ken Jeong, I think he is one of the most he's one of my most overrated celebrities of all time. I actually really liked him in this one. In this one, but yeah, I would say that the editing style is so cool. There were like times in the movie where I was like, "Whoa, it's so cool! How did they do that?" Yeah, I wish that was the impression I give this movie. Like, also like one thing, like one scene in particular where I was like, "Whoa," was pretty much when in the beginning of the movie where these characters were texting were where the characters were testing, and we actually like got to see what the characters were saying, like with these text bubble effects, and then you'd see them like just fly over to like another country where the receiver receives the message. That is brilliant right there. Yeah, I wish I praised this movie more, but the problem with this movie is that this is generic at best. This is super generic. Like, it doesn't do anything new with this rom com rom com no just genre. I mean, like with films like Scott Pilgrim versus the World or Palm Springs. I think those movies actually offer something else that not making generic. Even forgetting Sarah Marshall, yeah, you may see that's a generic rom com, but I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I think it is one of the best rom coms. Can't say the same about Crazy Rich Asians. Like, it literally just plays itself so safe, and it just sticks. It is just super formulaic. You know what the plot in this movie is. Boyfriend and girlfriend meet, they date, they talk and then you got the third act breakup cliche. They run away from each other. They come back at the end and get engaged. Yeah, that's basically like the flow in this movie, and that's just basically every other rom coms. And also the humor is not funny. It is annoying. Aquafina in this movie, oh my goodness, I cannot stand her. Probably my second worst Aquafina performance. For the longest time, I actually considered this as my least favorite Aquafina role. Well, until like one role from Herzog, which I'll definitely talk about that. And I think you already know who I'm referring to, yeah, um, but yeah, Aquafina was super annoying. Like, I mean, I like Aquafina. Like, she's a great comedian, but not in this movie. Certainly not. Yeah, and this movie just kind of boring and just it's just boring and cringy. It's just yeah, couldn't care less. If you like this movie, more power to you. I mean, but just let me know what's good about this movie. Because from what I know, the only reason why people love this movie is because they love the book, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, couldn't care less. Um, oh boy, now we're getting into the movies that I cannot stand. Yeah, and these movies I just can't like. And these movies I think about them, just being nothing but overrated. At number four, Transformers, the first one from Michael Bay. Oh, oh my goodness! Like this movie just keeps getting constantly worse and worse and worse the more I think about it. And yeah, and I have no idea why people love this movie so much. Like apparently people say that this is the best Transformers movie ever. Like, and even over Bumblebee. I mean, Bumblebee is the best Transformers movie. It's not my favorite, even on an objective level. Bumblebee is the best Transformers movie. I love Bumblebee so much. If there's any Transformers, product that would make me look like a Transformers fan, it will be Bumblebee. I always love a movie. Um, yeah, Bumblebee. Like I already did a full detailed review on Bumblebee, so like, what else is there to say? I don't know what else is there to say, but yeah. But Transformers. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna spend some less time on the movies that I reviewed, which well, apparently there are only three movies I reviewed. So yeah, I'll spend less time on them and a little more time on the movies that yeah, that I never talked about on this channel. But yeah, yeah, I mean, I feel like this is one of those instances where people just just praise this movie out of nostalgia. Like people think that this movie is just oh nostalgia. Oh my god, this is the first movie in the franchise, so it's automatically the best. Yeah, just because this movie is the first in the franchise doesn't mean it's automatically the best. Cause this isn't even my favorite of the Michael Bay Transformers movie. That would be a Dark of the Moon. But to be fair, I don't like any of these Transformers movies. Dark of the Moon though is actually pretty passable at best. This one though I can't give it a pass. Like I stand by what I said in my review. It's boring. It's annoying. It's too stereotypical. And Sam Witwicky is the worst Transformers character, like worse than Joshua Joyce. Yeah, I cannot stand this guy. Shia LaBeouf is without a doubt the most overrated actor in Hollywood, and the fact that people actually think Sam is a better Transformers human alive than Charlie Watson. Really? Charlie Watson, like Haley Steinfeld's character, who Charlie Watson actually has a real character arc. She actually goes through something. She actually has such a personal and relatable character. What arc does Sam even go through, like in this movie? Nothing. He says, he gets Bumblebee and he meets Bumblebee and he just owns Bumblebee. He runs from the Decepticons. He carries his thing. He screams from it, and yeah, nothing. And also, this movie just gets worse the more I think about it. I think I pretty much lowered my rating from a 4 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10. So there's some pretty good action scenes, some good visuals, and at least this doesn't have Michael Bay schlocks, but otherwise, yeah. I'd even take Michael Bay's TMNT duology over this one. There, I said it, yeah. At number 3, The Box Shows. Oh my god, this movie. This is actually a movie where my fans and hatred of this movie has gotten me just so much backlash. Every time I talk about this movie being terrible, I'd instantly just boycotted that, and people would just get pissed off at me for hating this movie. But come on, guys, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I mean, my opinion, but yeah. But I'll admit though, maybe giving it a half star rating is a little too giving it a half star rating is a little bit too extreme. And even I even went as far as calling this the worst anime movie of 2014. Yeah, I think I took this movie a bit too extreme. The worst movie, the worst anime movie 2014. Also known as my nowadays my least favorite movie of 2014 in general is The Nut Job. But does that stop me from hating the box shows? Nope. Because this movie is just pure garbage. Like the garbage of the box shows doing this. Yeah, that is um I mean that is basically how that like how I sum up this movie. It is um like yeah, it is boring. And definitely one of the absolute worst stop motion movies I've ever seen. Like it's a shame because this is that because Leica is my favorite. Leica is my personal favorite. Stop motion animation studios. But to be fair, this isn't really the only Leica movie I dislike. There's also Missing Link, which I consider that this honorable mention. By the way, I forgot about Missing Link until now, to be honest. But yeah, back on track, back on topic with this one. That the box shows, I cannot stand this movie. The only thing I like about this movie is Winnie, voiced by Elle Fanning. But that's it. That she's the only good thing about the movie. Everything else about this movie is good. I mean, everything about this movie is just yeah. I mean, like this movie is super boring. The story is just nothing. Like there's no plot to this movie whatsoever. I mean the characters. I mean besides Winnie, are just not very good. Like Hanks is such an annoying main character, and I can't stand his voice. Yeah, his voice. Oh my god. Like like his voice is cringeworthy. Yeah, I get it's British, but I mean it's just but I mean, is the actor even British? Because he sounds more like he's just mocking the English accent and actually just trying to use a British accent. That's pretty much what I found about this one. Like this movie is not fun at all. This movie is just not fun. The Exterminator is one of the most cliched generic villains ever. All he does is just want to snatch box shells, take a white hat, and some cheese. That's it. Yeah, even the animation is ugly. The animation is just beyond ugly. Like, oh my god. Really, 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 oh my god. And this movie got nominated for an Oscars instead of the Lego movie. Yeah, really, the Lego movie got snubbed at the Oscars for this garbage movie, and also Book of Life as well. I mean, yeah, why? What are you doing? Yeah, I mean, just what? Are you serious right now? I mean, 2014 is honestly my favorite anime year for animation in 2010. As we got so much masterpieces Big Hero 6, which rightfully deserved to win the Oscars in my opinion. Lego Movie, How to Train Your Dragon 2, The Book of Life. But yeah, the box shows does not deserve to be among the caliber because I think it is one of the worst anime films I've seen in 2014. I just really don't get it. I just really don't get it. If um, if you like this movie, please tell me below what is good about this movie. What is there to like about this movie? Anyway, moving on. Oh boy, now here comes the pain. At number two, the Little Mermaid remake, the most overrated movie of the year and the most overrated Disney movie period. This movie is actually what got me to make this video, and it just shows because I already made a full detailed rant of this movie, just explaining on why I think this movie is a disaster, and why I just don't get on why I just don't get why what people like about this movie. Like, I mean, people have been hating on Disney for years. They hate on anything Disney does. They hate on Marvel. They hate on Lucasfilm. with Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and even like the original Disney animated films get hate. Um, but apparently out of all the Disney movies, this one gets a pass. Really, um, and also as I'm recording this, Haunted Mansion is getting bad review. It's getting bad reviews. Like it's getting the reviews that this movie should have gotten. I believe Haunted Mansion will be a million times better than this movie. I just don't get it. And also my Letterboxd review, like someone just literally just just bash my opinion saying, how come you think Lightyear's a masterpiece but you hate on this one? Um yeah, um yeah, this movie is just so boring. Yeah, it is just so boring. It's basically nothing. Like, I mean, like, I've actually rewatched the original Little Mermaid movie, and I feel like I'm out already forgetting about this remake. Yeah, I may review. I was originally planning to review the original Little Mermaid movie, but honestly, I don't have time anymore to do it. So yeah, 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 this movie. Yeah, I just don't care for it. You know what? Moving on. But I think you'll probably know why it's number one. You probably already know my hatred towards this one certain movie. Like if you know me so well, and my number one most overrated movie of all time, the number one movie I hate that everyone else likes is Sing 2. Oh my goodness, this movie freaking sucks. I mean, I don't get it. Even Illumination haters like this movie. And I even considering like one of the best Illumination movies. So people even say this movie is better than Mario. Really, Mario? Yeah, and I kid you not, this movie has an A plus on Cinema Score. A plus. Why? I'm sorry, but I am never ever ever gonna change my mind on this one because I watched this movie four times just to just tell you if this movie is this if this movie is just to see if I really how I really feel about this movie, and I just can't stand it. And I stand it. Yeah, like, where did I start with this? This movie is basically just the exact same thing as the first movie. There's nothing new to offer. It's just the same thing. Like you got the auditions. Just the characters auditioning for a new talent show that is being produced by someone who's pretty much holding up lines, and also you got you even got the and to add insult to injury, Porsche. Ah, Porsche. Like I don't even like um I don't even want to like I don't even want to just go on about how just awful this movie is. How this movie is that this movie is just probably this movie is still remains the worst Illumination movie I've ever seen. I just don't want even want to bother just like going like further about this one. So yeah, Sing 2 is without a doubt the number one movie I dislike that everyone else likes. So also for my top 10 list, what are you do you agree with me on these picks or at least most of them, and what are your overrated movies? I'd like to hear about it. Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review of Secret Invasion. Bye guys.